tell you. Alrighty. Let's see what's going on here. Interesting. Let me see what's going on here.
In a huge legal blow, Democrat judge has just been indicted for helping illegal aliens evade arrest. Also, Hakeem Jeffries is now threatening the Department of Homeland Security with a pathetic warning. And Democrats are disrupting congressional hearings to protest Medicaid cuts.
A federal grand jury just indicted that Wisconsin judge, Hannah Dugan, after she allegedly helped an illegal avoid ICE at her courthouse. Senator, again, promises made, promises kept. Tom Homan, the president, said, look, you interfere with the lawful work of ICE, and we're going to hold you accountable.
Well, it's a federal crime. She committed a crime, and I don't know about you, but I'm tired of these judges all across the country acting like they're above the law, acting like they are some sort of tin-pot dictators who can sit up there and say, oh, here's what we want to do. I'm going to run the country. I'm going to be president. They're supposed to be following the law, Laura. They're supposed to be adjudicating the law, and they're supposed to be following it as private citizens, and this judge was doing neither. So I'm glad she got indicted. I hope they prosecute this thing all the way through. It is outrageous for a sitting judge to be trying to obstruct justice in the United States of America. That's what this individual was doing. This is a clear message to these judges. Start doing your jobs and quit obstructing the fair implementation of justice in this country.
Yeah, just so.
And here is a copy of the court document showing the indictment. Now, if you actually read the language, count one is all about knowingly concealed a person from arrest who had a warrant, and also prevented the discovery and arrest after notice and knowledge of the fact that a warrant had been issued. This is just crazy. And then here is count two, that she did corruptly endeavor to influence, obstruct, and impede the due and proper administration of the law under which a pending proceeding was being had. And this is in regards to due process. So she was obstructing the due process as well. And I just find that to be funny because the whole theme song for Democrats right now is due process, right?
Just so everyone remembers what happened, she was actually allegedly escorting illegals out her own courtroom back door to try to, avoid ICE taking custody of her. That's how bad this has gotten. And we have situations with similar, varying but similar fact patterns in places like Massachusetts. Lord knows how many times this has already happened across the United States. You have the situation in Newark at the ICE facility, Senator, where everyone's pulling stunts to try to get on camera and have their viral moments, protecting the worst of the worst there.
Yeah, you've got sitting judges like this one, state court judge, members of Congress who are openly flouting the law. And they're out there giving us moral lectures while they're defending terrorists, defending gang members, and flouting the laws of the United States.
So the bottom line to this first story is it's a major legal blow for Democrats because they believe all of this nonsense that they are taking part in is good for our country. Judges aiding and abetting and literally helping illegal aliens evade arrests. AOC is hosting town halls helping illegal aliens evade arrests. You got the New Mexico judge that was harboring an illegal alien who was actually an MS-13 gang member. And then you have Democrats storming the ICE facility last week, where it led to the arrest of the mayor. And that also includes the arrest of protesters from yesterday. And so that takes us to our next story, where Hakeem Jeffries has come out and issued a warning for the Department of Homeland Security. He wants them to attempt to arrest some of the members of his party. Listen to his threat in this video. Take a look.
Your statement the other day after there was this incident in Newark, you said they better not touch our members, or if they would try to sanction them to the House of Representatives.
They'll find out.
What would you do?
They'll find out.
But doesn't that broach a...
They'll find out.
Doesn't that go...
That's a red line.
What's the red line, though? I know we have this...
It's a red line. It's very clear. First of all, I think that the so-called Homeland Security spokesperson is a joke. It's a joke. They know better than to go down that road, and it's been made loudly and abundantly clear to the Trump administration. Give me a break. No one's intimidated by this dude. No one. And so there are clear lines that they just dare not cross.
All right, now before I even react to that, if you guys have been getting value from our channel and this video in particular, please like, share, and subscribe if you want to support us further. Go to the link in the description below. You can buy us a cup of coffee or listen to this episode on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Now, let's understand the context here. He's responding to Trisha McLaughlin. She's the person that works at DHS. She's been making all these appearances on Fox News, and she came out with the heavy claim that one of the members of Congress who were on the ground at that ICE detention center in New Jersey body slammed a federal officer. I'm going to address that in a bit here. But in regards to what Hakeem Jeffries is saying, he's not going to do anything, okay? This is them ramping up their rhetoric so they can get attention and show their base that they're not backing down. But it doesn't get anywhere, okay? Now let's hear what Trisha had to say over the weekend.
There's some folks who said, you shouldn't be arresting the mayor of Newark. It wasn't there a way to sort of de-escalate this without having him arrested? What do you say about that?
If it was a typical U.S. citizen and they tried to store him into a detention facility that's housing dangerous criminals or any person at all, they would be arrested. Just because you are a member of Congress or just because you are a public official does not mean you are above the law. We will continue. If you assault a law enforcement officer, we will also make sure you answer to justice. So I think that arrests are still on the table for this. This is an ongoing investigation.
So once again, they sound tough when they go onto Fox News. But where's the evidence of the member of Congress body slamming a federal officer? Why do I care so much? Because they should be in handcuffs. And I'm sure you would agree to that, right? So, again, she makes the Trump administration look bad if she's going to say something like that and not provide the evidence. Because it gives people like Hakeem Jeffries, who everybody likes to call a dollar store Obama, this platform to come out and make comments like that. And it's annoying. He's nobody, okay? He's not going to do anything. Can we please get her to release the body cam footage so we could shut him down? I would love that. Now, here's Tom Homan making an appearance on Newsmax. Here's what he had to say about this situation. Take a listen.
And has there been a response from Attorney General Pam Bondi? Is she looking into it? Is it likely? Can you give me the latest on that?
I can tell you there's lots of video being reviewed. There are statements being taken from witnesses. So those are the investigation leads. Wherever the investigation leads, that's where we decide what to do. But no, Alina Hobb will make the ultimate decision if anybody more is going to be prosecuted. I've seen the videos, and I think the Congress people that were there were extremely unprofessional. This is a facility. They've been screaming, we demand due process. We demand due process for illegal alien gang members, terrorists. And here's a facility that gives them that due process, and they want to shut it down. They want to prevent ICE from operating that facility. And when you force your way into a facility, when you cause chaos like this, it puts the officers at risk, the unarmed employees at risk. We got some bad people in that facility, and we got to maintain maximum security of that facility. So what happened there is extremely unprofessional by the part of the protesters and the members of Congress. And we'll see an investigation comes out. If there's going to be additional criminal charges, not my decision. That'll be all up to Alina Hobb.
Now, before we get back to the interview with Hakeem Jeffries, here's a message from today's sponsor. Tax day may have passed, but for millions of Americans, the real trouble is just the beginning. If you missed the April 15th deadline or still owe back taxes, the IRS is ramping up enforcement. Every day you wait only makes things worse. This is why I trust my friends at Tax Network USA to help people just like you. Whether you're self-employed or you're a business owner, even if your books are a mess, they got you covered.
Hey, how are
Tax
you?
Network USA specializes
I'm gonna click on something here at the liquor store, man.
and getting you back on track.
Let's see, what do they get?
Even after the deadline, it's not too late to regain control. Your consultation, which is completely
Get a
free,
bottle of
can help
Hennessy,
you
huh?
stop the penalties, threatening letters, and surprise
375
levies before it
milliliters.
escalates any further. So
Hennessy.
call 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/number or hit the link in the description below.
Are you open to a major overhaul of air traffic control technology?
I think we need to make sure that our air traffic control system and technology is top-notch and first-rate. And to the extent that there are aging parts of the system, it definitively needs to be corrected. We also need an administration that should stop trying to undermine aviation safety in the United States of America which is what they've been doing, perhaps at the behest of one of their lackeys, Elon Musk, from the very beginning of this administration.
Okay, so the lackey he should be referring to is members of his own party, because they haven't done anything. You guys have no solutions, no plans, no policies. You haven't offered any alternative bills for the president to sign. And all you're really doing is going out there and making a fool of yourselves when you guys speak this way. Yeah, it's all Elon Musk, President Trump, and Republicans' fault that now air traffic control systems are failing. They've been failing. The difference today in 2025, everybody's paying attention. And Stephen A. Smith made the same point about Jasmine Crockett and the Democrats. Take a listen.
When I hear Jasmine Crockett talking about how I'm just against all things and everything Trump, is that legislating? Isn't it an obligation that you have to come up with something? If the other party is in office, you have to go from thinking that you're going to get what you want if your party was in the White House, and instead transitioning to how can I work with the other party to get some of what I want because they won the election.
And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, even if that wasn't feasible, can you at least act like that is the case? I mean, that's how pathetic this party really is. Now,
23
to
minutes.
pile on this nonsense from Democrats, and I'm going to keep this next clip short because I know you might, get a headache listening to this woman. AOC also has come out and threatened DHS over these arrests. Take a listen.
If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson-Coleman, on Representative, or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem.
So, AOC, please tell the American people what that problem is going to be and what it would look like. And exactly what would you do in this situation, okay? This is what they're wasting their time doing, okay? Instead of, again, coming up with solutions to work with the opposing party. I don't understand why we can't get back to that as a country. Oh, yeah, that's right. They don't care about our country. They care about fighting against President Trump. And the Republicans, they're on the hook too. Because while Democrats are making a fool of themselves, the Republicans, they need to get to work and actually pass these executive laws from President Trump. Because if they don't, this whole agenda that's going to push America in the right direction goes right in the trash. Now, in breaking news, it's being reported that there are protesters at the U.S. Capitol protesting Medicaid cuts. They have stormed the building. Some of them are actually getting arrested or escorted off the premises. And this continues to show why when people like AOC and Jasmine Crockett and Hakeem Jeffries speaks the way that they do, their base responds in this way. Is that really what democracy is all about? Let me play this clip and you tell me if you feel the same way. Again, like I said yesterday, I don't understand how you wake up in the morning and this is what you're doing with your life. Now, here's Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and what he had to say about this continuous lie about Republicans cutting Medicaid and Social Security and entitlement benefits to give tax cuts to billionaires. Take a listen.
All right, so you have the cuts that you to achieve your goal, but some of the cuts, like Medicaid and food stamps, which are for the poor.
Yeah. Don't believe the misreporting and the hype that the Democrats are trying to put out there. Even before the bill text had come out, Greta, they were running ads and put billboards up around the country suggesting we were cutting Medicaid. It's simply not true, and we were able to get the ads pulled down because they were based on false information. The bill text was just filed on Monday, yesterday morning, and people are going through that and understanding what we're actually doing, Greta, is securing Medicaid. We're shoring it up. We're going to make sure that these essential programs are there for the people who genuinely need and deserve it. What Medicaid is intended, remember, as a safety net for young pregnant mothers and the elderly and the disabled and vulnerable populations, not for able-bodied young men without dependents. Those are the kinds of people we're taking off the program, the illegal aliens who are on the program. and we're going to root out fraud, waste, and abuse, and that's where the savings are going to be found. So we're actually making the program stronger for the Americans who need it.
So for the millionth time, Democrats continue to claim that Republicans are cutting entitlement benefits to give tax cuts to billionaires, which in turn will leave millions of Americans hungry. But let's tell you the truth. The proposed reforms from Republicans are aiming to enhance accountability and efficiency of the program and to get the fraud out of it. For example, why is it that states continue to, in my opinion, defraud the federal government so they can give these same benefits to illegal aliens? For example, the state of California. That's exactly what they've been doing. That's why California is going bankrupt in that program. They keep running out of money. So yeah, I think it's a good idea to have work requirements. I think it's a good idea that states should share a portion of SNAP costs with each other. That increases more accountability. And here's Dr. Oz on MSNBC earlier, also talking about this issue. Take a listen.
No, you want to give states the money they need to take care of the people that are domiciled there, but you want those states to be responsible as well. And right now, there are many instances where states for Medicaid, again, Medicaid is money they're given to the most vulnerable, people who are living at below the poverty level. But the insurance monies that are paid for the care of those people is higher than Medicare, which is the system that's out there for elderly Americans, folks who've been paying into the system. It was never designed to be that way. So we have a problem between the able-bodied people on Medicaid and the folks that it was originally designed for. Even that discrepancy is causing issues. I guarantee you the money is not all going where it's supposed to go. I'm sure there are hospitals getting money they don't deserve, and other institutions are suffering, like some of these federally qualified health clinics who aren't getting enough money to do primary care in areas of the states that are being left behind.
Yeah, and that's the part that I can't get through my head, and maybe you can. Just explain it in the comment section. Why is it, if I was to say out loud, we need to make sure that able bodies are not using Medicaid, and we also need to make sure that illegal aliens are not receiving entitlement benefits? How do you take that statement and turn it into, I'm looking to cut benefits from Americans and leave them hungry and without health care? Right? That's the problem with our politics. They make up stuff. And to give you a great example of that, the latest congressman who threatened articles of impeachment against President Trump is now actually filed them officially. Here he is. Take a look.
Donald J. Trump has been committing crimes since day one. Bribery, corruption, taking power from Congress, creating an unlawful office in DOJ, violating First Amendment rights, ignoring due process, and finally refusing to abide by a unanimous Supreme Court ruling. Pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I rise to give notice of my intention to raise a question of the privilege of the House. House Resolution 353, impeaching Donald John Trump, President of the United States, for high crimes and misdemeanors.
Now, I'm sure the question from you is, Dvory, why do you show this particular story? The other side of thinking for themselves? And again, this is another situation where the media and Democrats are going to use this as a narrative to convince American people, some might be your friends, some might be your family, that President Trump is committing crimes, when we know that is not the actual truth. And what's more important that we should be communicating to our brothers and sisters is that Democrats are spending their time doing things like this, while the Trump administration is spending their time doing things like this. Pay attention.
Just after leaving his apartment for work in the early morning hours, ICE officers arrested this illegal migrant and convicted murderer from Colombia. According to ICE, he entered the country illegally last year. Then he was released under Biden administration's catch and release policies. As ICE officers tried to arrest this 40-year-old twice-deported criminal migrant from Mexico, he tried to run, but as you could see coming up here, he was unsuccessful. While illegally in the U.S., ICE tells us he was convicted of arson, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and DWI. So here's the final numbers from this operation. ICE tells us in total 422 illegal migrants were arrested. That includes holds 262 criminal convictions and 229 with final orders of removal.
See, that is the thing about the Trump administration. When you compare it to the prior administration, and Democrats can cry all day long, and I'm sure you might have people in your life that cry all day long about how bad President Trump is, but what you can't say is he is not getting busy. His administration is moving 1,000 miles per hour. They are always doing something every day, even things that we may not even agree with, like making all these appearances on Fox News. But they're doing something. I mean, the last administration, what did they actually do besides let people flood across the border? So kudos to the Trump administration for this. And the guy seeking to file articles of impeachment, he is an embarrassment to Congress, in my opinion. Now, the story continues. Take a listen.
So ICE is speeding up that deportation process for those with those final removal orders that have already had their due process. After processing and detaining them, they are sending them to these hub locations immediately where they are deported instead of taking up space.
Right now, there's really a focus on speeding up the entire process from arrest to removal, trying to avoid as much detention as possible, just because that's taxpayer money that pays for the detention. So the less time we spend in detention, the less taxpayer funds have to go towards that detention.
And we got a breakdown of the criminal convictions made during this week-long operation. You have everything, John, from murder, robbery, DWI to sexual assault of a child.
I mean, those are just terrible crimes, and thank God ICE agents are finally allowed to do their job. I mean, people just don't understand it because the media refuses to cover it. And if the media doesn't cover it, how would you know unless you intentionally went to go look for the information? When it came to border security and the collaborations between ICE and federal and state level officials, that was basically non-existent over the past 4 years. That's why some states are fighting against this collaboration with the administration. Now, let's compare that once again with the disarray of Democrats. Here is Chuck Schumer being pushed and confronted in regards to his assessment on Biden's mental acuity, because now it's blowing up and everybody has to answer for it. Take a look.
Hand was up.
You said in June of last year, by meeting with President Biden, that Congress and the president wield its influence to make progress on key priorities.
Yeah, I know. Sí, es raro, ¿no? Pero está bien, ¿no? Pero no está poniendo nada in the chat. I have like 3 viewers on Kick, but they're not putting anything in the chat.
Well, I'll give Chuck Schumer some credit. That is a positive message. They should be looking forward and stop fighting President Trump and start fighting for the American citizens, regardless of their.
I'm headed down to 41st Street. I'm actually going to be passing USC,
especially that Wisconsin judge,
the private school,
on charges
university,
for helping illegal aliens evade ICE arrest.
Look at the homeless people living underneath the freeway. Look at that.
What about
Isn't that crazy?
These protests at the U.S. Capitol? These guys are disrupting Congress because they believe in this nonsense.
The governor of California, El Gobernador, said he wants to make sure that people do not sleep on the sidewalks.
Let me know what you think about all that in the comment section.
Because he doesn't want them. It's inhumane.
CNN had a shameless interview with Jake Tapper exposing Joe Biden.
Yeah, use Kick too, Hans. Yeah, exactly. I'm doing it both on YouTube and Kick. So
if you missed out on that story, all you have to do is click.
Let me know if you need any help. Si necesitas ayuda, yo estoy aquí, hermano, para ayudarte. Yeah, you can do some in English and in Spanish. The people want to know that are living in the United States what's going on in Mexico. They really need to know how safe Acapulco is, you know. I was talking to my friend today that lives in Pachuca, and she was telling me that a lot of people that are going to Merida, and I think it's like Playa del Carmen, those places, especially a lot of Americans, they are being rude. See, yeah. She said that a lot of like black tourists, American tourists, they go there to live, and that they're not treating the Mexicans very nicely, not like respectable. So I don't know. I know the ones that are going to Merida are professionals. They have they're more respectable. If you subscribe, I should give you gift you a subscription, and then you could type in the AI and test it, see how it works. I think it's like $5.
In a quarter mile, turn left onto West Jefferson Boulevard.
So this is USC right down here. It's a really nice school. It's a private school. There's a lot of traffic here. All these food trucks right here. A lot of rich college students go down here. Let me see. No me digas.
How things are done in the U.S. and how things are done here in Mexico. And some of them might shock you. For example, here in Mexico, you can buy alcohol at 18 years old. In the United States, you got to be 21 to buy alcohol and liquor. But good old Mexico, once you hit 18, you can get it. My daughter Haley will be turning 18 in about a month, and she's already counting down the days. Daddy, I don't have to wait till I'm 21. I can get it when I'm 18. And so, in less than 30 days, me and her gonna go out and sip on some margaritas and some tequilas because they don't have to wait to 21 in Mexico. Another thing that's slightly different, I got a bunch of these things, man. I think y'all want to find some of these interesting. So, for example, most restaurants that you go to, they don't give you refills. If you order a soda or water or whatever, water comes in a bottle water unless you specifically ask for a glass of water, which the water's filtered if you do get that. But everything, a can of Coke, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, apple juice, orange juice, they come bottled or in a can, and that's it. They don't give you refills. Now, there are a couple of restaurants here. Most of them, the few are American chains where some will give you refills, but the overwhelming majority of restaurants that you go to, you ain't getting a free refill. You want to buy another can of soda or another can of juice or another bottle of water if you want something else to drink. So in the States, they just pound all that liquid down your cup and you can get 8 or 9 refills at the restaurant, but that ain't happening here in Mexico. Another thing, still thinking, talking about restaurants, when you go to these restaurants, the vast majority of them, they won't have salt and pepper on the table. Just something that they don't have. So if you want salt and pepper, typically you need to ask for it because it's not going to be at the table. So again, differences, not bad, not good, it's just different, you know what I mean? And I don't know what the blood pressure rate here is like in Mexico, but they don't. You got it everywhere. Another thing that stands out to me here is breast and the baby getting sucking all out in the open. Everybody seeing, but here they don't get all uptight. They don't get all prudish about it. In the States, folks be getting all offended, acting like they disgusted. Want to get in an argument with you while you feeding your baby. But here, it's laid back. People feeding their baby. Nobody got no complaints. Ain't nobody staring them down, looking at them all crazy. Whether they be in the restaurant, they'll be outside on the curb, sitting down in front of a convenience store, milk feeding the baby, be at the mall, just sitting down on the bench, and ain't nobody got no complaints. But in the United States, man, folk want to whine and hoop and holler and talk about how offensive it is, and it's like, man, most of y'all probably sucked on one of them things when y'all was a baby, and now y'all sit up here tripping, acting like y'all don't understand. You know, it's strange, man, but here, mothers get to be mothers without all the extra, without all the extraness that goes along with it. Another thing that you will Mexico, still on that restaurant tip. I don't know. I honestly didn't line this up like this, but it's not unusual to see families roll up in the restaurant 15 to 20 deep, especially on Sunday. Family here, the culture here as it relates to family, it's a big thing. Families involved in pretty much all aspects of life. So when there's a birthday, everybody comes to the birthday, especially when a person turns 15 years old. They got, again, birthday parties, anniversaries, all of that. And so families, it's a big deal. So it's not unusual.
So this is the campus of USC right here on the right. It's pretty nice, huh? Well, I think this, what's the tuition for USC? Let me see. What is the annual tuition for USC? The annual tuition to study here at USC is $73,260 for the year. It's freaking expensive. If you're not getting a scholarship, you gotta have a lot of money. And even for foreign students, probably even more. Let me see. What's the annual tuition for foreign students at USC? 71,000. International students is 71,000 for the. Okay, so it's about the same. Tuition is 73,000. Fees are 1,900. Housing is 12,000. Meals are 8,000. And books are $1,200. It's pretty expensive, huh? Crossing over the blue line, the metro. That's crazy though, isn't it? About, put it this way, it probably cost about a good 100 grand to study at USC. I'd say $100,000. If you don't have a scholarship of any sort. I have a lot of friends that have gone to USC. They're famous for their marching band too, and their drama school, theater, and also for their dentistry, medical school.
And they just having a good old time, just playing and having a good time. So again, very family oriented. It's a beautiful place if you have kids, if you have, and you're trying to raise a family and you want some old-fashioned values. Man, I ain't even gonna knock it. Mexico is a great place to bring your children, raise a family.
Is that a scooter? Or is it a motorcycle?
To some of those values. What else? Man, I got a lot. I can go on and on and on, and so I'm gonna read off a few more of these things. Speeding. You know, one thing that's been different here, you know, in the United States, they'll set up speed traps everywhere. They always try and catch you behind and trap you and try and get you because they always try to get that money. And so, but here it's different. People be flying down that road, they can ride as slow or as fast as they want. Now, unless you just doing something just absolutely ridiculous in terms of speeding. And when I say ridiculous, I mean you really got to be flying down the road. But even when you're flying down the road, oftentimes they don't even pull you over. Now, there been quite a few times where I've seen somebody going super fast. I'm talking maybe, I had to put a number on it, they probably flying down the road 120 miles an hour on the interstate and on the highway. And so can speed up, catch up to them.
So yeah, I am on Jefferson. This is more like the industrial part of LA. A lot of warehouses right here.
After they get through doing that little tongue lashing, the car slow down or the motorcycle slow down, and then the cop will just pull back off and go on about his way. They ain't even trying to pull you out the car. They ain't trying to run your tag. They ain't trying to run your license. They ain't trying to see if you got any warrants on you. They just, just carefree about it. I've been stopped a time or two, and they don't have, they ain't running no checks. They ain't trying to take your license. oftentimes they will set up roadblocks on the highway. They'll shut down the whole highway and set up roadblocks, and everybody that pass through get a breathalyzer. Everybody in the States, you'll be sitting up there, folks be up there complaining about their rights, and I don't have to do this, I don't consent to this, and No, here they stop everybody. You don't want to get that, you don't want to blow on that thing, they taking you out your car. You know what I mean? Ain't no questions, ain't no if, and, or buts about it. But they oftentimes will have rules.
So they have breathalyzer requirements in Mexico. You don't have any choice, huh?
So I do find that cool. I appreciate it. You know, because drinking and driving, if they can minimize the number of folks getting in accidents and dying from drinking and driving, it saves a lot on everybody. So many times the roadblocks, they'll just be in random places and places you least expect it. And one of the things they do down at the beach during the weekends, and I even think during the weekdays and in the evening hours, they'll block.
It's amazing how these people order liquor and they just can't go to a liquor store that's in their neighborhood.
But they got the roads locked down, and they checking everybody that's coming out of that beach, because they know a lot of folks down here get on that beach and they get to drinking that alcohol and they get to driving. So they will check for it. They definitely will check for that. Another thing that I thought was interesting, because Mexico is still kind of like the Wild Wild West.
The Wild Wild West.
And the Wild Wild West can kind of be good and it can kind of be bad. Like,
here's a liquor store right here. 2 minutes away. Okay, Wadsworth Avenue, make a right. Major street. What street is this? Martin Luther King, MLK. Oh my God, no wonder. Let's see if I'm gonna be able to pass here.
You know, so for example, here it's not unusual, and I know they do this in other parts of the world. You might see 4 or 5 people.
I'm surprised. It's a very busy street usually.
And I'm talking about a man, a woman behind them.
See, 41st Street.
And then there's another child behind her holding on to her for dear life, and they might even squeeze one more on that man. So it's not unusual to see that here, and I hear other folks talk about it. It happens in other Asian countries as well, but that's a sight that you will oftentimes see here, and you will see people riding on
922.
It might be 8, 9, 10
932.
back of a pickup truck just standing up, going to work. And I remember back in the day in the States, it's illegal to ride in the back of a pickup truck. Correct. A joke.
Get the piano.
On side of a
interesting.
All right. To this farm, and on the highway, guy got out his truck. He was just standing on the edge of the road and just peeing. Now, in the States, we'll try and go hide up in the trees or hide behind a tree and hide up in the bushes and whatnot and try and do all that. No, they just right there on the spot. Ain't nobody thinking, but they peeing right there. Again, the Wild Wild West. And now I don't want to give the impression that folks are just riding around just peeing all on all the public buildings, peeing downtown on historical buildings and peeing all up in the park. Although it can happen, I'm just making you aware that at some point you will see it more often than not. So don't be surprised. So before I got about 8 more. Yeah, I got about 8 more. I just want to give a shout out to our sponsor. Many of the people who watch our videos are business owners and entrepreneurs, and one of the biggest areas that business owners struggle is in marketing. If your marketing is not good, then the people who would have been your best customers will never know who you are. SEO Rank Media specializes in driving targeted traffic directly to your website from Google, and they actually guarantee the results. Plus, they offer flexible month-to-month services with no long-term contracts, and that's because they're confident that you'll see the results and you'll want to stick around. Click the link in the description box to get a free audit of your business website so that you can be clear on where your website currently stands and how to improve it. It's completely free with no strings attached, no credit card information or anything like that is required. So I got the link in the description. Click on that and go get your free audit. It makes all the difference in the world because exposure for your business is important. Like he said, if nobody knows about your business, it serves you no good. So thank you, SEO Rank Media. All right, so let's get on back to that list of things here. One thing that you will see here are vendors everywhere selling any and everything. So you can go to the grocery store and it's not unusual to have the best tamales come out of somebody's car. There's a place down here in Cholula at the Super Arcade Grocery Market. I get my tamales from that guy, and his stuff is off the chain. They sell their stuff out of the OXXO parking lot. They sell these cookies. And
all right, easy peasy. Drop that off.
From Argentina.
What is he talking about? What is Cortez talking about right now?
Like little half moon pies, empanadas.
Empanadas, okay, yeah.
Really, really, really good stuff. So you see people selling them out their trunk. They'll be in the parking lot. And drinks and ice creams and crema de coco. I mean, they got some good stuff. You just riding down the street and you just pull up on the side of the road and order your stuff, and they bring it to your car. And sometimes you get the best deals on the side of the road, and the food is good. Don't let folks trick you to convince you that the food is unsafe or that you're going to get sick. I eat the street food all the I only been sick one time, and that was because I made a dumb choice to eat some food that I shouldn't have eaten. My kids had enough sense to say, no, we don't want nothing, Daddy, you good. And I ate it, and I was sick like a dog.
Yeah, you got to be careful about that.
What happened, but that did not deter me from eating and enjoying the food that folks sell. So I don't know if anybody can just randomly sell stuff, particularly foreigners. Maybe one day I can ask an attorney if that would be an issue, because I highly doubt all these folks that are out on the street selling stuff have any kind of license or anything like that. So, because somebody asked me the other day if they came down here and wanted to sell stuff, would it be an issue? So I'm gonna find the answer to that. It's a good question. But you'll see everybody out here selling candy. You'll see people out here selling coffee. You'll see people out here selling peanuts. They selling everything. Also, another thing that is different that you see here that you won't see in the U.S., and I talked about this briefly the other day, is you'll generally see a separate line that is available for seniors. So older people, they have a special line they can go into. They don't have to wait in the long line. They can get in and out, and that same line will also be available for handicapped folks in wheelchairs or crutches or whatever. Also,
That lady didn't want to get to the liquor store. She was a bit on the heavy side. She was, and she didn't look like she could walk very well. She couldn't come downstairs and get the.
another thing that's different, like when you go to the restaurant or you go to the drive-thru, you go to food, they'll literally put like napkins in the back
a lot of stuff on King Boulevard. You gotta be careful, man.
In those bags in the States, they just wasteful. For example, you go to Taco Bell in the States, and they'll throw about 30 things of hot sauce or medium sauce in the bag, and they'll throw about 50 things of napkins in the bag, and that's the same thing as McDonald's.
Saludos, sons. Acapulquero.
You get 1 or 2 napkins, and you get 1 sauce. And if you want more, you gotta ask for it.
Superior. There are a lot of Superior markets around here in LA.
So they don't give you nothing. And then when you ask for some more napkins, they hand you 2 more.
2 more?
Dude, I need more napkins. I hand you 1 more.
He's talking about the amount of napkins you get when he goes to a restaurant.
They are not wasteful here at all. So I find that funny. It's frustrating to me sometimes because I don't think about it till after I don't pull it off, and I want to go sit in the park, drive in the parking lot, and eat somewhere, and I open up my stuff and then one ketchup and 2 napkins, and I'm like, really? And another thing is when they fill your soda up, they don't fill it all the way up. They be about 1.5 inches below, and it's like, man, I don't pay all this money for this drink. Y'all need to fill my stuff up, especially since y'all ain't giving up no refills up in this bad boy. Fill my stuff all the way up, you know. So again, just differences, see from here and there. You know, it's different. It's different. I talked about this in the previous video. Another thing that they do differently here is, in many cases, most cases, if you need some medicine, you just go to the pharmacy and ask for it, and they will hand it to you over the counter.
Yeah, we'll go back to Jefferson.
You don't have to drop off a prescription and then come back 2 or 3 hours later. No, you walk in and say, hey, I need some metformin, I need some clonidine, I need some whatever, and they say, okay, and they hand it to you. That's it. You pay for it. Much of it is fairly cheap. You pay for it and you walk out the door. Another beauty is most of the pharmacies are connected on WhatsApp, which is like a messaging app that's used here, mainly in most Latin American countries. If I need some medicine, I can just write them in the app and say, hey, I need this, and they will bring it to my house. But there's all these pharmacies are in every single neighborhood, so you don't have to go get the medicine, and most of them offer free delivery. You just tip the guy or the lady, just give them a little tip, 50 cents, and they bring the medicine over to you. Now, I don't know if the locals tip or not. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe a local could share in on that, but all the medicine you need, you can just go and get it. Now, the exception may be, for whatever reason, they generally want a prescription for antibiotics. So if you're getting antibiotics, you would typically need to get a prescription for that. But for the most part, everything else, free game. You don't need to bring a box. You don't need to bring a previous prescription. You don't need to bring a box. You just go in there and tell them what you want. And if you do need a prescription and you don't have a prescription or you don't have the box, you can generally walk into many of these pharmacies. There'll generally be a doctor on staff, and for like $3.50, $5 max, you can see them, and they will write you up a prescription on the site or on the spot, and you can go back to the pharmacy and get your medicine. So again, the differences very convenient. I know, like in the States, you go get the medicine, you gotta drop it off. Like in Walmart, you gotta drop it off. You gotta come back later in the day to get it, and all. No, you walk in there and walk right back out the door.
So this is Adams.
So my daughter said this one about one of the other differences between Mexico and the United States is, at least where we live in Merida, they don't have department stores.
There's a Korean restaurant right here.
In the States. So, for example, there's no TJ Maxx, there's no Ross, there's no Target, there's no, so yeah, I can't think of any other one, but Michael's, Kraft, they don't have these big giant department stores like that. Most of the time, if you want some stuff, many people tend to go to the mall to buy stuff, or they'll find some little small specialty shops that
Shamu.
I haven't seen them, but at least, again, this is here in Merida. We do live in the South. So the South, we are in the southern part of Mexico, so things tend to be a little more lax and a little slower pace in the South. So I don't know if this is the case up in the north, places like Mexico City, Querétaro, Guadalajara, and some of the other larger cities. Maybe they have them something similar, but they don't have that here. Another thing that stands out, a lot of stuff about the restaurants. So when you go to the restaurant, and after you finish eating, you gotta raise your hand and you gotta ask for the bill.
Yep.
And they bring the bill out.
They don't just bring it to you.
You put your credit card in the little black book, they close it, and they take it to the back, and they run it.
No.
Here,
well, they're running in front of your table right now.
They bring a manual, they bring a terminal to your table, and they run the card there in front of you. Yeah. And in that moment, they will ask you if you like to leave a tip, or they'll use the word propina, which means tip. And on the terminal, they'll show it to you. You can pay 10%, 15%, 20%, except or other. And so that one thing that's different here, they don't run off to the back. In the States, it's almost like they want credit card fraud to happen. They go out of their way to make it easy.
Of course they do, man. They can
take your credit card.
They get homeless encampments under the bridge, underneath the freeway bridge. There it is right there. Oh my God, that was nasty.
But that don't fly here. I heard in Canada,
this guy's
that's the first time I
juggling to
ever
get some
seen
money,
them
man.
do this. When I was in Canada, they said it's illegal for them to take the credit card.
Oh man, that's pretty dark down there, man.
So I don't know if
Man,
that
can you
part
imagine
is
sleeping underneath the freeway underpass?
same thing there.
Can't do that, man.
Place where they let them folks take your stuff to the back room and have their way with it. And in Mexico, if every single restaurant can have a terminal that they bring to the table and swipe your card right in front of you, why can't they do that in the States? Minimize on that credit card fraud. But it's like I say, they want jokers to get ripped off up in that kid. It don't make no doggone sense. So that one thing you do here, you pay at the table, and then you off on your way. Another thing, I don't know if y'all get tired of this. They like, man, how many things? And I might make
what is this? They got clothes outside here. This guy's
I'll do that. I just got a couple of more to go, and we'll be done. And
he's just covering it up. So they're selling stuff out here, and they just covered up for the night. Oh man, it's crazy.
Anything that I missed, post it down
all the way down to Olympic.
I would love to hear how it's different here for you, or whatever country you're in, how it's different. So go ahead and make sure you do that as well.
So this is technically the garment district, but everything you see is closed. It's around 7. They close usually around 5:30 or 6, I imagine.
Where they don't give grocery bags.
You can buy a lot of clothes for wholesale.
And so
there's a Bank of Hope there too.
You generally gotta bring your own bag, or they charge you for it. Even if you go into a high-end store, like say for instance you go to H&M, the clothing store, and you buy something, and you can buy a whole lot of stuff. And if you want a bag, you gotta pay for it. They'll give you a real nice cardboard box type bag, paper bag.
I want to get pissed somewhere actually.
But you gotta pay for that bag. What else? A&E. I'm trying to think of some of the other stores. I think I went into a Mac store, an Apple store. They charge me for that bag.
There's a campus right here.
So yeah, most places will have to purchase a bag, or you can
have to
bring
go
your
on
own.
8th Street.
So if you got a bunch of bags in the States and you
Or no, on
bring
9th Street.
them with you, so you don't have to buy any more.
Go down 9th Street. This is the homeless area right here, man.
Because it took me a while to get used to remembering to take the bag with me. So every time I found myself at the store, I had to buy another bag because I didn't bring any with me. Another thing that you'll see people do in the grocery store, they won't have a bag at all. They'll just load everything in the basket, and then they'll scan it, and then they go to the car, pop the trunk, and they just load everything up in the trunk of the car.
What if he's doing
Carry it
Uber?
out piece by piece when they get home. So I've done that a few times because I refuse to buy another bag. I'm tired of buying these doggone bags. I got plenty. So I'll just load my basket up and roll out to the back of the car and just dump it all in there and be done.
Just
with
bring
it.
your
So,
bag, bud. Don't.
another thing.
Just remember to bring
and I
it,
told
dude.
you about this in another video as well.
This guy's
They
gonna cross. He's got a
deliver
freaking cane,
everything
man.
to your house.
Dude, did you make it?
So if you
Holy
buy
shit,
something on
guy.
Facebook Marketplace, like yesterday, we found
Oh, man.
one of those 3-door refrigerators on Marketplace. They open that way, and there's a big
Do that shit.
pull out, which is the freezer, and we paid like 6,000 pesos for it, so that's $300. So we went to go check it out just so we get a visual on it. Because oftentimes you don't even need to go check it out. If you know exactly what you're getting, you only need to go. But so we bought this thing from a repairman, went down there, looked at it. All right, we good. And he was like, all right, if y'all want it, I'll deliver it. And so most places will deliver your stuff. So like in
Downtown LA. It's all dead, man. Everything's closed up. The garment district is closed up for the day. Alright, let me make a left here because I'm always going to miss that light. I want to get off on the left right here. There's nothing going on right here, man.
They will have it transported for you. They might charge an extra $5. Like, hey, I'll bring it to you for $5. And, you know, people order vapes for like 20 pesos, $1. They'll bring it to your house. They literally get on the car or motorcycle and they'll drive a vape to your house. What else? Everything. Nothing is off limits. Like last year for Christmas or the year before, kid wanted an iPhone. I found a good deal on Facebook Marketplace. They brought it to my house, and they always say with no obligation. I'll bring it to you. You can look at it.
Facebook Marketplace,
if you like it, great.
huh?
Buy it. If you don't like it,
Wow.
no obligation to buy. And so we bought a cell phone that way. Bought a PlayStation, an older PlayStation 4.
I don't know if I trust
brought it to the house, plugged it up, made sure it all worked. And
you saying they bought stuff on Facebook Marketplace in Mexico? No, man.
And we bought it. I think they only charge like 50 pesos extra, like $2.50 to drive it across town. Sometimes it ain't even worth the effort to go get it.
Yeah.
So a lot of this stuff, practically everything. If you decide to go on there and you want to buy a generator, somebody will bring it to you. They make that one thing I like. They make it easy, whether you buy something used or whether you buy something new. And so it's convenient here. That's why I think you kind of buy a lot back. Making a move down here, you get a lot more quality life back because a lot of the stuff that you had to do, you don't have to do no more. You can just hand it off to somebody else and let them do it. You see what I'm saying? Last but not least, the other day that is different, well, similar in the States, I guess, but here, and I might be off on the time that, again, maybe this is a local thing, it may be different in the larger cities, but here, you can't buy alcohol after 10 p.m. The computers lock down, they shut down, they'll go in there, they shut down all the refrigerators, so you can't get it. And
I wonder what time they stop selling alcohol in Acapulco. They're saying after 10 o'clock at night in Merida they don't sell alcohol.
Totally locked down. And on Sundays you can't buy alcohol after 7:30 p.m. So just look at little differences. So listen, Mexico, we've been here now 3.5 years. It's been absolutely amazing for us. We absolutely love it. One of the kids will start looking at going to college next fall. You can go to college here, get a 4-year degree. We're talking less than $5,000 total. And that's if you go to a private school. So public schools are even cheaper than that. And so you got options. By being a resident here, you get access to a lot of things and good quality of life, man. And for those of y'all that are thinking about making a move here, consider it. Mexico is very close to the United States. It's not at all what the media makes it out to be. Mexico was the last place on my mind. When a friend of mine was like, you should go check out Mexico. And I was like, man, I ain't coming to no daggone Mexico for what? And to my surprise, I'm disappointed that I didn't make this move a long time ago. Mexico is sitting right next door. I know a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about just seems like it's unbelievable, it's unreal, but man, we've helped a ton of families make the move situation is not financial. I've mentioned before, mine is financial. I needed to get caught up for retirement. I didn't save. I didn't invest. I have no retirement. I've been an entrepreneur. I spent all my funds and money just enjoying life in the moment and didn't plan for the future. And so when I had to look things over, I had to come to the realization that
Oxo 24 hours, huh? That's cool.
51 tomorrow.
Right here on the left side is, they call this the, there's a yard house right here, yard house. I forget the name of this place. They call it the, oh yeah, Downtown Line. That's what they call it, Downtown Line.
I want all this done.
Yeah.
No house, no
there's the, on my left, there's the JW Marriott, and they have the Ritz-Carlton, one of the most expensive hotels in downtown LA.
All my expenses to be minimal. And so, because I don't want to be worried and stressed out, trying to figure out how I'm going to
24 hours in Oxo, that's good to hear that, man. Because in some places in Mexico, I know in Tijuana they stopped selling too, like around, I think it's 12 or something like that.
And it's not too late for you out.
And on elections, they don't sell alcohol, right?
I think,
if they have an election going on, they don't sell it.
$1,500 a month, and if you're looking at buying and struggling in the States, $1,500, that's not going to paint a pie in the sky dream that you can come over here and live like a king for $1,500. But I can say you're going to live a whole lot better on those $1,500 than you are in the States, because your biggest expense is going to be a place. I show houses and apartments all the time. Apartments where people are paying only $300 a month for rent on the apartment. Now, if you're in a position where you can actually buy a house and don't have a mortgage at all, that $1,500 is straight up all the way. But even if you have to pay, you can find a place for $300 a month. Now, it's not going to be a big, grandiose place, but it's going to be in a very safe neighborhood. You're not going to worry about somebody trying to rob you, steal from you, mug you, or anything like that. But yeah, you're going to be very comfortable. You'll be able to afford high-speed internet. You'll be able to afford cell phone plan running $10 a month versus $50 a month in the States, or $100 a month in the state. You can get high-speed internet.
They have those little things that deliver a little thing on the right side.
You know what I mean? So you can actually afford.
I
went out today and bought tacos and tortas for 5 of us.
Tacos and tortas.
For the day. It was $25 to feed all of us, and it was still some left. So there's some left for tomorrow for lunch. So if you went to that place by yourself, you can get a drink, 3 or 4 tacos, and I'm talking about big tacos with all the fixings on it. And I'm talking less than $5. You know what I mean? And that could be a beer that you're drinking. So you don't have to struggle. You got options, you got opportunities. You just got to exercise. Now, I know a lot of folks say, well, because of my pension, I don't qualify, I don't meet the financial solvency requirements. There's a loophole around, there's a loophole, there's a workaround.
What's the loophole?
I've talked about, find the video on my channel where I talk about this loophole. Right now, we're at the end of December 2024. And if you've never been to Mexico before, you need to get here before January 1st. So essentially, you got about 20 days to get your butt here so that you can get a stamp in your passport showing that you was here in 2024. Because if you do that, 1 year later, in January 2026, so we're going to skip over 2025, but 1 year later in 2026, you will qualify. You can qualify for a residency program under something that is called the regularization program, the RNE. With this program, you don't need to prove income. You don't need to have a job. You don't have to meet the financial requirements, and you can do the entire process while you're here in Mexico. So I'm not going to go into detail about that now.
That's interesting.
But 1 year from now, you can qualify for that program. For many of you, it's going to take about 6 months to a year to plan and make the move anyway. So hey, if you don't meet those requirements, figure out how you can get your butt here before January 1st. You want to get a stamp on your passport for 2024 so that you can qualify for this program, because 2024 is over. Now, if you did this thing that I'm talking about now in the middle, let's say in January or March, you have to wait all of 2024 to end, all of 2025 to end, and then qualify 2026, almost 2 years. But because we're at the end, they go by calendar years here. We're at the end of 2025. You essentially got to wait 1 year and 20 days from now to qualify. Rather than see you get a 4-year residency, assuming the program is still active, which all indications suggest that it's going to continue. The official word just came out that it's going to continue through 2025. So again, it's going to most likely continue. It's a cash cow. It's a money-making thing for the government of Mexico, and it's a loophole for those that don't meet financial requirements. The other way, they can get residency this way. So when people are talking about it, telephone consultation with me, that's hop on the phone. The other alternative is to join our VIP membership, and in that membership, there's a section there called I generally respond within 48 hours. So pick your poison, telephone consult, or join the VIP membership. I have links down below, and get your questions answered. I hope you found this video helpful. Make sure you support our sponsor, SEO Rank Media. Their link is down in the description as well. And thank you for watching. I hope you found this helpful.
Alright, let's see, here's freaking... 721.